You're driving to work, same route you take every day. Your navigation app starts talking, informing you about traffic, suggesting alternate routes, pointing out speed cameras and hazards every time it spots one. After the 20th alert, you're not grateful anymore, you're just annoyed. This week, Google's Waze changed that game entirely. The app now uses Gemini AI to figure out what you actually care about and delivers only that information, exactly when you need it. Not more alerts, smarter ones. Here's the wild part, it learns from how you drive. If you consistently ignore speed camera warnings on your regular commute, Waze stops telling you about them. If you actually care about real-time traffic updates, it prioritizes those. It's like the app is becoming your personal navigation co-pilot instead of that friend who won't stop talking. This isn't just a feature update. It's a fundamental change in how AI should work in apps you use every day, smarter by learning your habits, more respectful of your attention, less invasive by design. And it's already rolling out to millions of Waze users right now. To understand what Waze just fixed, you need to know why navigation apps became so aggressively talkative in the first place. When GPS navigation first arrived in cars, it was revolutionary but crude. Give it a destination and it spits out turn-by-turn directions. No context, no awareness of what's happening around you. Over time, apps added more and more data layers. Traffic, hazards, speed cameras, accidents, construction, police checkpoints, potholes. Almost everything that affects a drive. The logic was simple. More information equals better decisions. So they informed you about everything, all the time, assuming you'd filter out what mattered. But here's the problem, your phone isn't a mind reader. It doesn't know if you're running 5 minutes late and desperate to avoid traffic, or you're on a Sunday drive and couldn't care less about a detour. It doesn't know that you've made this commute 500 times and know every hazard by heart. So it keeps talking, keeps warning, keeps suggesting. The result? Alert fatigue. You stop listening to the warnings, even the genuinely important ones. The more helpful an app tries to be, the more it actually distracts you. That's the trap Waze just escaped. So how does Waze's new Gemini AI actually figure out what you care about? The approach is elegant. It starts by observing. Every time you use Waze, it tracks subtle signals. Which alerts do you glance at? Which ones do you ignore completely? Do you actually change routes when Waze suggests a detour, or do you stick to your original path? Do you slow down for speed camera warnings or cruise straight through? Over time, Gemini builds a profile of your actual preferences, not what you say you want, but what your behavior reveals. Here's where it gets clever. Gemini doesn't just store this data locally. It understands context. The AI recognizes patterns like the time of day, the type of route, whether you're on a familiar commute or exploring somewhere new. On Tuesday morning during your usual drive to work, Waze knows you're in autopilot mode and barely need guidance. You just want to know if traffic is heavy. But on Saturday, when you're heading to an unfamiliar neighborhood, Gemini knows you might want more detailed warnings and suggestions. It's adaptive filtering. The same app behaves differently based not just on your preferences, but on your actual situation. This is what machine learning should do, understand nuance, instead of blasting everyone with the same one-size-fits-all approach. Let's get concrete. Picture this. You're stuck in heavy traffic, crawling on the expressway. Your Waze app sees the congestion, understands you're frustrated, and knows from past behavior that you always want real-time traffic updates during rush hour, so it prioritizes that information. Meanwhile, it notices a speed camera ahead on this exact road. But looking at your history, you've driven past this camera hundreds of times without incident. So instead of warning you, Waze stays quiet. You get what matters, you don't get noise. Now picture a different scenario. It's your first time driving to a new office. You've never been there before. Gemini recognizes this and switches modes. Suddenly, Waze becomes more informative. It warns about hazards. It suggests safer routes. It's more cautious because it knows you need guidance. The AI is practically working as your co-pilot. One more example, you're taking a road trip. Waze notices you're heading somewhere unfamiliar, driving for hours, and probably getting tired. So it doesn't just show navigation. It might suggest rest stops or point out interesting rest areas you didn't know about. The app is reading the moment, reading your behavior, adapting. This is personalization done right, not invasive, not creepy, just useful. So how does this compare to Apple Maps, Google Maps, or other navigation apps? Here's the honest truth. Apple Maps has improved dramatically over the last few years. It's accurate, integrated with Siri, and works seamlessly across your iPhone and Apple Watch. But it's still basically a traditional navigation app. It gives you routing and traffic. Google Maps does essentially the same thing, incredibly accurate, loads of data, but again, it's not learning your personal preferences the way Waze Gemini integration does. The difference is philosophy. Apple Maps and Google Maps prioritize comprehensiveness. They want to give you all available data and let you decide what matters. Waze just made a different bet. It's betting that an AI that actually understands your habits and filters information intelligently is more valuable than seeing everything at once. Other apps have AI features, sure. Google Maps has some Gemini integration, but Waze's approach is different because it's built around one core question: what does this driver actually need right now? Not what does every driver need. What does this specific person, on this specific drive, at this specific moment, actually need? That's a harder problem to solve. And if Waze nails it, it becomes the navigation app you never want to leave. This Waze update matters way beyond just navigation. Here's why. In-car AI is about to become one of the most critical interfaces between you and technology. As cars get smarter and more autonomous, the question of what information to show the driver, when to show it, and how to present it becomes genuinely life or death. A distracting navigation app might cost you a second or two of attention. On a highway at 70 miles per hour, 2 seconds is 230 feet. That matters. The other thing happening right now is that every major car manufacturer is building in-car AI systems. Tesla's doing it. Ford, Audi, BMW, Mercedes, they're all trying to figure out how to make AI co-pilots that help without distracting. Waze Gemini integration shows how that can work. Predictive, personalized, context-aware, less chatty. It's a template. If Waze can prove that this approach actually reduces driver distraction while improving navigation quality, every other app and car manufacturer will copy it. This could become the standard for how all in-vehicle AI behaves. Less noise, more intelligence, fewer alerts, better outcomes. That's not just an app update. That's a change in how AI should work in the spaces where attention is life-critical. If you're curious about trying this out, here's what you need to know. First, the good news: you don't need to do much. When Waze rolls out the Gemini-powered features to your device, it activates by default. The app simply starts learning. That's it. Your preferences will build over time as you use the app normally, but if you want to be more deliberate about it, Waze gives you controls. In the settings, you can review which types of alerts you want. You can tell the app what you care about: traffic, hazards, speed cameras, rest stops, whatever. And importantly, you can see what the app thinks it knows about your preferences. This transparency matters. You're not in the dark about how the AI is profiling you. You can see it, understand it, adjust it. One tip: if you're trying a new route or heading somewhere unfamiliar, you might want to temporarily dial up the alert level. Tell Waze you're in explore mode. The AI will respond by being more informative until you tell it you're comfortable with your usual level. It's navigation that adapts to you, not the other way around. And here's what matters most: you stay in control. The AI is a tool. You decide how much you want it to help. So here's what you should actually take away from this. Waze just proved something important: that AI doesn't have to be louder, more aggressive, or more intrusive to be smarter. Sometimes the most intelligent technology is the technology that knows when to shut up. It learns, it adapts, it respects your attention. This is the model that's going to win in the next decade of AI development, not because it's technically flashy, but because it actually works better. Fewer false alarms. Better decisions, less distraction, more trust. If you drive, you're going to notice this. Your commute might actually become more pleasant, and you'll be watching something genuinely important unfold. The moment when AI in everyday apps shifted from trying to tell you everything to actually understanding what matters to you. That's progress. And it started with something as simple as making a navigation app less chatty. The takeaway: keep an eye on what Waze does over the next few months. Other apps are watching. Car manufacturers are watching. This is how the smarter version of AI gets built, not by adding more features, by learning what actually matters and delivering only that.